Hello and welcome to the Frontline Bulletin for January 23rd, 2013. This and other good content is hosted on frontlinebulletin.com. This newscast is available in both video and audio formats. And here's the scoop. In a $9 billion example of spreading the wealth around, taxpayers will be subsidizing the costs associated with the recent deal to compensate those affected by wrongful mortgage lending practices. This is another great showing of the regressive economic structure of this nation. The banks who have enjoyed huge quasi-legal bailouts from taxpayers after manipulating the markets into collapse are once again showing their true nature. The most staunch supporters of capitalism are actually extremely wealthy socialists who enjoy insuring their losses with your tax dollars, the same people who said that Occupy was waging class war. According to the Huffington Post, quote, regulators reached agreement this week with Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. Last week, the regulators settled with 10 other lenders: Bank of America, JP Morgan, Citigroup, MetLife Bank, PNC Financial Services, Sovereign, SunTrust, U.S. Bank, and Aurora. The settlements will help eliminate huge potential liabilities for the banks. It should be noted that the regulators could have chosen to pursue this action as a civil penalty like the SEC did in 2010, but instead the settlement with the lenders and banks will be completely tax deductible. Now, some Bradley Manning developments. In a further slam to the whistleblower defense, Bradley Manning is not going to be allowed to testify as to his motives during his court-martial. The judge, Colonel Denise Lind, claimed it is irrelevant to do so in the trial phase of the case, but will allow motives to be heard after a plea deal or a guilty verdict is reached. Key to the defense of Manning, hearing his motives could potentially show that he was acting as a whistleblower and not trying to harm the interests of the United States. This would also take some heat off of Wikileaks, as it could force a change in the tone around the whole issue. Now, to Mali. See here. There we go. The Malian army has been killing civilians in the town of Niono, according to credible information provided to Human Rights Watch. So, now, it looks like both sides of this conflict are committing atrocities against civilians in regions under their control. Human Rights Watch reported in April of 2012 that the coalition of Tuareg rebels, Islamists, and Arab militias had raped civilians, used child soldiers, and pillaged hospitals, schools, aid agencies, and government buildings. The French have been mostly silent on this aspect of the conflict they have interjected their military into for various reasons. This conflict has already crossed several national borders and could very well drag more African and Western powers in. The United States is now at least providing aircraft, as well as probably more communications equipment and things like that. The African Union is providing ground forces, and the list of foreign powers involved is assuredly going to grow, much to the delight of Al-Qaeda, whose stated goal is to bring death to the West by 1,000 cuts. The reason for the sudden surge of fighting in the region is thanks to the Libyan conflict. The Tuareg rebels, who had been armed by Gaddafi loyalists to fight in Libya, simply decided to return to their previous struggle, well-financed, equipped, battle-hardened, and now with new alliances. If there is no prompt cessation of fighting, more civilians are likely to get hurt, as the West turns a blind eye to France's taking advantage of the instability for imperialist aims. The relationship between the separatists and the French government has been an open secret by bloggers who say the true aim of the neo-colonial intervention is to divide, conquer, and extract newly discovered oil and gas reserves. Now, to some petrol politics in our nation. Protect the Sacred stream out of South Dakota was live today. Friends of the Frontline Bulletin are in South Dakota today to live stream the meeting of many First Nation peoples. The purpose of this meeting is to ratify old peace treaties, and to draft new treaties in opposition to the Tarsands extraction, and further pipeline development. And in related news, the Sierra Club has announced it will be taking direct action to fight tar sands and the development of the pipelines. Quote, recognizing imminent danger posed by climate disruption, including record heat waves, drought, wildfires, and the devastation of Superstorm Sandy, the Sierra Club Board of Directors has suspended a long-standing club policy to allow for one-time the organization to lead a group of environmental activists, civil rights leaders, visionaries, scientists, and other high-profile individuals in a peaceful protest of dirty and dangerous tar sands. That was a quote from Michael Brune, the Sierra Club executive director. He goes on to say, quote, "For civil disobedience to be justified, something must be so wrong that it compels the strongest defensible protest. Their direct action is going to be organized as an invitation-only event. Many are extremely excited by the prospects of such a large and respected group joining the cause, while others have warned against co-optation and that the group may be fishing for donations. I personally am looking at this optimistically, and I'm pretty excited by the news. This is still a developing story, so we'll be sure to keep you updated." Now for an Aaron Swartz update. The White House petition page has seen a strong reaction to the suicide of Aaron Swartz, legendary internet information freedom activist and developer. The petitioners are seeking for the removal of Carmen Ortiz, the U.S. District Attorney prosecuting Swartz. The petition, which can be found on petitions.whitehouse.gov, states that, quote, "A prosecutor who does not understand proportionality and who regularly uses the threat of unjust and overreaching charges to extort plea bargains from defendants regardless of their guilt is a danger to the life and liberty of anyone who might cross her path. It should be noted that the victims of the alleged crimes Swartz was being prosecuted for do not even wish to press charges." More on Aaron Swartz. Wikileaks recently tweeted about Swartz claiming that he was claiming that he may in fact have been a source for some information and was in contact with Julian Assange in 2010. This hasn't been substantiated yet, so it's all kind of up in the air still. TheVerge.com said it properly, quote, "Whether this is a play for attention, an attempt to steer the political conversation, or a desire to share uncomfortable secrets with the world, WikiLeaks, or whoever is running their Twitter account, is certainly stirring the pot." Now for some local news. A Little Canada man was charged with obstruction of the legal process and disorderly conduct for filming the police 30 feet away from his own home. He had his camera turned after the police seized it, but the footage was deleted. A police officer involved was quoted saying, "I'll be very upset if I end up on YouTube," end quote. The ACLU has agreed to represent the man in court and said that they expect the city will back away once they realize the man has legitimate representation and that he was well within his First Amendment rights during the incident. The state legislature is working on a bill that will help keep homeowners in their homes during a foreclosure process. The bill is designed to forbid banks and lenders from moving forward on evictions while the mortgage holder is working on a deal with the bank to fix the mortgage, otherwise known as dual tracking. J28, the Day of Global Solidarity for Idle No More, is set to be a big event here in Minneapolis. The Day of Action was called for to show solidarity to activists protesting the Harper government at the opening day of the Canadian Parliament on the 28th. The Frontline Bulletin will be live streaming the rally, then march, starting in Gold Medal Park downtown at 5 p.m., and continuing until the protest is over. For further information, a link is posted on frontlinebulletin.com to the events page. And be sure to dress warm. It's supposed to be a little bit warmer than it has been, but bring your hats, bring your jackets, everything. Thanks for watching this weekly newscast. Be sure to follow the Bulletin on Twitter at SamRichards10. Like us on Facebook, and go to the show's website. It's full of good stuff. Footage from recent actions, including the MLK March, a Idle No More round dance, and all kinds of stuff. Fancy new forums, too. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
What you need? What you need? Get low,
Who's the king of the sound? Just put a lock on the town.
What you need?